asking you, as you've roamed the halls while I've been streaming the last 4 rounds, and let's be clear, that will come to an end shortly because when my kids finish playing, I'll have to put them to bed, and I'm going to turn it all over to the pros to take us home in round 8 and 9. But I know you've been roaming the halls. What are the spicy decks out there?
So we've seen a few interesting things near the top as things start to rise. There was a lot of Passimian at the top few tables last round, but it seems like they all lost or tied last round.
Yeah, and I think we should be clear for you readers at home that are wondering what is going on. The what is going on is Passimian.
Yeah,
right?
It seems like, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 that were 3-0 going into the last round, but like I said, all unfortunately lost or tied. We got a few Vikavolt Rayquaza decks that are doing well, a couple of Malamar variants, and this round we're actually going to be featuring Jesper Eriksen coming over to us from Europe, and Xander Perot, really solid matchup. 2 great players. Jesper's been in the top 22 in Europe before, of course, the 2016 world champion in the seniors division, and Xander Perot, top 16 last year, North America. Former U.S. national champion in the juniors division. So once again, just players that have been around the game forever.
2 of the best players in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we're talking about if you want to talk about what should I be playing in my League Cups tomorrow, that's why I'm watching this regionals to find out. I think the short meme answers are Passimian, Zoroark Banette, the deck that Xander's playing, and this deck that Jimmy Pendarvis is playing. We saw streamed earlier with 4 Great Balls.
All right. As we get things going over here, it looks like Jesper's going to be going first. We see Jesper is actually playing the Malamar Shining Lugia Tapu Koko deck, something that had a little bit of popularity, a little bit of hype coming into this event. It got top 16 at a Brazilian regionals.
Right. This is the deck that I tried to get my kid on yesterday. Single prize attackers Malamar was how we described it, right?
You've got a lot of spread
options. The primary
options.
single prize attackers are an army of Tapu Kokos, Shining Lugia.
And of course, Shrine of Punishment as well to increase those damage output.
Right.
And then you've got a lot of options with this deck, right? You've got the Necrozma GX with Black Ray GX. That's an option to come in and do 100 damage to all GX and EXs in play, which is super powerful. And then you can always, of course, clean up the game with the Tapu Lele promo with that magical swap attack. We'll see if Jesper utilizes that in this game or not. Getting things going here. He looks like he's got his energy attachment for turn. Started a Shining Lugia, which is pretty solid. And Argent Wing on Lugia, its first attack, it does 60 damage, plus 60 if your opponent's active has an ability. So it actually will be able to knock out Xander's Shuppet next turn. So Shuppet will be going down most likely. As Xander's going to get things going here with a Nest Ball. Probably going to be finding a Zorua if I had to guess.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this is I think unlike how people conventionally think of these Malamar decks, he's running 4 DCEs so you can power up the Shining Lugia attack.
Yeah, it's great with Shining Lugia. It's great with Tapu Koko promo. Like, you want to just spread a lot of damage that way. It can also be utilized with things like, of course, Necrozma GX, so you can power up Black Ray a little quicker. I've even, I watched a couple of Xander's game. I've seen him I watched a couple of Jesper's games. I've seen him attack with his Orangaroo that he has in the deck. They're usually there to just draw a couple cards, but Psychic can become a decent attack.
Psychic is a great attack, actually. It's fun. It's I think underrated.
For sure.
But so I think one of the things that's interesting is one of the challenges we face in this format is he doesn't play any of the Dawnwings Necrozmas because he's playing the Shrines. So he doesn't have that kind of switch effect that we've taken for granted for so long with these Malamar-style decks. Part of that is because his goal is to play Shrine, and he doesn't want to put GX out there. Part of it is there's no more Floatstones. So things are a little weird in that way.
And we see Xander here going ahead and attaching a Psychic to the Shuppet. No supporter on his turn, unfortunately. Just got the Zorua down. Gonna go ahead and attack, hit it for 10. And you may say, like, why would you even waste an energy or an attack on just doing 10 damage? Well, Shining Lugia actually has 130 HP, so it makes it a little easier for a Zoroark to come in later and clean up a knockout on this Shining Lugia. So actually, a seemingly irrelevant attack could be very, very relevant this game.
Yeah, and once again, we talked a lot about, I think every Zoroark deck we've seen so far today has played 3 Devoured Fields. This one plays 3 Devoured Fields as well, but you do not want to play a Devoured Field down until Jesper ventures the Shrine of Punishment, because once that's gone, you're out of outs to Shrine of Punishment.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Looking at Xander's list, he actually does play a copy of Lusamine, so he does have a way to recover Stadium cards, interestingly enough. So if this did come down to a true Stadium War, Xander has the option, if he wanted to get 2 stadiums with Lusamine, to win the Stadium War. So that's pretty interesting, actually.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing something there. I like it.
And Lusamine also, I mean, it has a lot of utility. He does play several one-of supporters. He plays 1 Kukui, 1 Mallow, 1 Judge, 1 Apricorn Maker in addition to the 1 Lusamine. So Lusamine can find those useful one-of supporters to potentially use them again later on, like if he wanted to judge a second time, something like that. But going to be pretty important here for Xander to find some more Pokemon, find a supporter card maybe. He does have a Zoroark, so he can trade. DCE would let him attack as well, but not for much. He does find a Cynthia, though, thankfully. Yeah, just a DCE to the active and a Cynthia.
Yeah, this is not going to be a powerful Riotous beating if he does not find some more Pokemon.
Yeah, he needs to find some Nest Balls here. Even just drawing into his basic Pokemon naturally would be great here. We'll see what he can find. I'm sure Xander would have loved to have found a Tapu Lele off of that trade. Even just finding an Apricorn Maker would have been great. He could have grabbed a couple Nest Balls, and I think he had a couple Zoroarks in that hand before playing the Cynthia. So now, not only is he going to need to draw basics off this Cynthia, on the next turn he's going to need to find those Zoroark GXs. There's a Shuppet at least. One more card.
Yeah.
He does get a Stretcher, so he can get 2 Shuppets in play.
Exactly.
We'll see if he wants to do that. Looks like he will.
Yeah, he thought about trying to put that Garbodor back in.
Yeah, he was maybe, Trash Lynch is definitely something that can come into play, and he does only play 1 copy. He plays a 1/1 Garbodor line, and...
Jesper's so thrown off by the 6 being a logo, he says, I have to do something different. I cannot understand this damage output.
So, yeah, Lugia here, even though it's not getting knocked out this turn, it will go down next turn, and it can still, Jesper can still get good value out of it by using Argent Wing. It looks like he actually will be able to use it to knock out a Shuppet here.
He's going to knock out another Shuppet, yeah.
Very, very good. Could actually maybe do it with a fresh Lugia. That would be pretty good. I'm not sure if he has any Psychic Energy in his discard pile yet, though, to use Psychic Recharge.
Xander says, let me check. Nope, no energy in there. That's good.
Yep, he could definitely draw into things like Treasure and
Ultra Ball, double Psychic, and then be like, oh man.
He's also got Acro Bikes. He's got ways to discard the Psychics.
Yeah.
So we'll see off of his new hand. It looks like I don't see any Psychic Energies there, or any.
Yeah, it looks like he whiffed the energy
I think
again.
I do see a Psychic, but I don't see any way to discard it. He's got a Nest Ball.
How many hit points does your Shuppet have?
Shuppet has 60, I believe. There's 2 Shuppets that are legal.
Yeah. So that's
one of the Shuppets has 50 HP. One of them has 60. So I'm pretty sure this is the 60 HP one.
Yeah. It's obviously the fact that Argent Wing can take a knockout.
Yeah.
Already done it twice. I should have known. Paying great attention.
I think he was a top deck of a Tapu Lele for Xander. He does have a Lily in his hand as well. He could maybe use the Lele and try to find Apricorn Maker for some Nest Balls to start setting up his board a little better. He could also try to Lily into a couple cards, but his setup is just pretty slow at this point. Xander's also a very intelligent player, I think, and we saw on his first search, he really took his time, checked his prize cards, so he may not have access to his Apricorn Maker, which could affect his decision right here to go for Cynthia over Leleing for Apricorn Maker if he knows it's not in the deck. Off these 6 cards, though, really going to want to find Nest Balls or Zaruas.
Yeah, he's going to need...
Just basic Pokemon.
He's got to... I mean, the good news is he only needs 1 to knock out the Lugia, right? Yeah. So that's good, but he gets a Zorua.
All right, so he'll be able to pull
Zorua coming, gets 1 more, and it's a Guzma.
Here's a trade.
Trades. A lot of supporters.
Does get the Zorua, though, so he can't take a knockout.
Yeah, he's going to get the knockout. He accomplished his goal for the turn.
For sure.
If he'd missed the knockout there, it would be very off-putting.
See, Jesper drew for the turn the Shrine of Punishments. It'll be interesting to see if Jesper wants to put it in play now, or if he wants to wait until Xander has more GX Pokemon in play to get more damage spread across the board.
Right.
And that could have also affected Xander's decision to not use Tapu Lele last turn. If he wants to keep his bench size low, not let Tapu Koko do as much damage, not let Shrine of Punishments do as much damage. These are all things that he's going to think about. As we see, Jesper actually Nest Balls down the Marshadow GX. This could be a big turn for Jesper.
I mean, he needs to find a way to... he's already got 1 Psychic in the discard off of Lugia.
Yep. So he just needs either one more Psychic in the discard or a double colorless energy, and he would be able to take a knockout here on Zoroark GX thanks to Marshadow's fighting type. Looks like Tate and Liza, the supporter of choice for Jesper, going to shuffle and draw 5. Really looking for a double colorless energy here.
Yeah, I think copy Ardent Wing. That's big, the big knockout.
Yeah, and you know, Marshadow is weak to Psychic, so it should be pretty easy for Xander to respond with a Banette knockout. But yeah, I think Jesper would definitely, be in a very good position off that. And he does draw the DCE.
Oh my word. This is a tough test for Xander. And the good news for him is he has the Zoroark GX in his hand for the next turn. But he would need so much to be able to knock that Marshadow out.
Yeah.
DCE, Choice Band, and 4 Pokemon.
Well, he can knock it out with the Banette GX, though. There's enough supporters in the discard pile. Yeah. Banette's attack does 30 damage plus 10 more for each supporter in the discard pile. And, yeah, it looks like...
Up to
10 supporters.
10 supporters, yeah.
So it can do
Can't
130.
do more than 130 damage.
But to the Psychic Weak Marshadow, should be able to make pretty quick work of it.
That'll be enough.
Yep. And there's the Ultra Ball, so he can find him the Banette GX.
Gonna throw down the Zoroark. Gonna Ultra Ball Banette.
We'll see if he can also... Oh, looks like he... Oh, I thought he was playing the Guzma, but he's actually trading it. And this is smart, trading before using Ultra Ball, because if you draw the Banette, then that Ultra Ball can become another Pokemon you want to use. Yeah, well, and if he has more cards to... he's got to decide what he wants to discard off the Ultra Ball. Sure.
More cards helps him make smarter choices.
Absolutely. He does have another Guzma in his hand. If he could get more Pokemon down, he could maybe target down things like Malamar, but at that point, it wouldn't make any sense because the Marshadow would just knock out the Zoroark.
Yeah.
Something about Xander's deck, he does play 2 copies of Weakness Policy, so if he could find Weakness Policy here, put that on the Zoroark. Jesper doesn't have any Field Blowers, so there would be no way to get rid of that once it came into play.
I don't know if we've seen a deck today that has run Field Blower.
I think you're right about that.
It is fascinating how kind of the resurgence of Garbodor and these Shrine decks have chased Field Blowers out of the format, and people are just running heavy stadium counts instead of blowers, and they're just gonna live and die with letting people have choice bands on the board.
So we actually see Xander Ultra Ball for the Tapu Lele, used Wonder Tag, found a Judge, and using a second Ultra Ball here, this could find the Banette. He's using this to not only find these Pokemon he needs, but he's also discarding the supporters that he may need to get the knockout here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all about counting to the number of supporters that he needs to knock out this Marshadow.
And of course, there is also the Shady Eyes, or Shady Move ability on Banette GX. He can, once per turn, if Banette is active, move a damage counter from one Pokemon in play to another Pokemon in play. So he can move the damage counter from the Rainbow on Banette to another of Jesper's Pokemon, and putting it on that Lugia would actually make it easier for a Zoroark or something to
I was going to say, is there any option you'd consider besides just moving the damage to the Lugia?
Yeah, it seems like the best choice for sure. Yeah. I could understand maybe putting it on Coco if you think Jesper plays Sudowoodo, which we know we're looking at his list. He does play it, so that way you could knock out the Sudowoodo, but Lugia is most likely going to be the next threat for Xander.
Right, he's going to need to find a way to get... As part of the question is how much damage is he doing with Banette? We don't have a supporter count here, but if he's hitting for 130, if you expect him to attack with the Lugia the next turn, but he's not going to be able to one-shot the Banette, do you just move the damage somewhere else? Because you're going to hit that Lugia for 130 either way.
Yeah, I think Xander's really smart about his damage placement. I actually was watching one of his games earlier today where he was playing against a Buzzwole Shrine deck, and he, in order to avoid going on to a Sledgehammer turn, was able to hit a Buzzwole for 120 and then move the damage to it to take a knockout on his next turn and just totally bypass Sledgehammer. So he's definitely very intelligent about how he uses
There's no question Banette decks using Shady Move to dodge Sledgehammer turns is the spicy thing to do, quote-unquote.
And we see that knockout come out on the Marshadow. Yeah. 2 prizes for Jesper, 3 for Xander. Still anyone's game. It seems like Jesper's in a pretty solid position here. But we'll see if he can close the game out or not. Xander did move the 10 damage to the Lugia, as we were mentioning. And Jesper just making sure he's fully aware of what Banette does. Ooh, as we see a Mimikyu come out, Copycat could come in. And
He's
depending on how many
he's
supporters
like, let me count
Jesper
the
has,
supporters. Xander's like, what? Let me count the supporters.
yeah, I think there was like 5 or 6 maybe, not a full 10. Jesper doesn't play Ultra Ball in his deck, so his only way to get rid of supporters is either Mysterious Treasure or playing them. So we'll see how many he had based off of how much damage this does, I suppose.
And the Bennett's not Psychic weak.
That's right.
Right? So this is, he's two-hitting him, but he's putting pressure on because he's down to 2 prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. See the top deck of Lusamine for Xander. That probably won't do him much good this turn. He can easily knock out this Mimikyu, but where does he go from there? Xander knows that Jesper didn't do very much on his turn. He just benched Mimikyu, attached, and attacked. He didn't play a supporter, so maybe with that knowledge, Xander can try to make some decisions based off of, okay, maybe Jesper doesn't have a very good hand right now.
Yeah. I recognize this is like a socio-political commentary thing, but I've noticed that Jesper is kind of taking his prizes out of order.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Right, he took these. He took the 2 prizes on the side first, and then he took a top corner and a bottom corner prize.
Yeah, some people just
apparently
take whichever ones they see.
I mean, people
first.
have said that's a European thing.
Maybe
right?
so, yeah.
Fascinating.
And Xander traded once. I don't know if he really got anything that's going to help him out here. He has the Trubbish, but that's pretty useless at this point since the Garbodors hit the discard pile. He can use it just to boost the Riotous beating damage, but other than that, it won't do too much.
He has a Rescue Stretcher, but
He's already
stretchered the
Yep.
he stretchered the Shuppet in turn 2.
He actually does have one other way to get it back I didn't think about. He can use Bennett's GX attack, Shadowy Hunt GX, puts 3 cards from your discard pile back into your hands, but if he takes a turn to do that, the Bennett will probably just get knocked out.
Yes, attack reminiscent of Hollow Hunt from popular in the European Intercontinentals last year.
The Decidueye GX.
Yeah, everybody's playing Decidueye at the time.
So we see him use a Shady Move, moves 10 off of the Zork, deciding where he wants to place it. Looks like it's just going to go onto the Lugia for now. Acerola removes all that damage in play. A pretty big setup right there. DCE already on the Zork.
Yeah.
And Mimikyu with only
benefit
70
of Mimikyu
HP.
only having 70 hit points is he can attack with Zoroark here and take a knockout.
Yeah.
Right.
So we should just see a Riotous Beating, pick up this KO, and I mean this is a precarious scenario. Jesper does play 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher, and he's only used like 2 DCEs, I think, so he could still theoretically find Marshadow plus an energy and take his last 2 prizes. So see what he gets here.
Yeah, I assume Xander's plan is to play another Acerola the next turn and bring the Bennett back up.
Yeah, definitely could do that. You see the Sudowoodo come out, so that's going to limit Xander's options the rest of this game. He can only have 4 bench Pokemon. Yeah, and it just looks like, honestly, Jesper might not have very much. It looks like he has a Guzma in his hand, so he could target down the Bennett, or the Shuppet, before it becomes a Bennett if he wanted to here.
Right.
It looks like he's just going to go ahead and smack the active, hit it for 120 damage, and it'll keep ticking up after the Shrine of Punishment. Oh, no, Shrine has come out of play, excuse me.
Yeah.
So Xander still has that Bennett. We could see
Let's
an
count supporters.
Yeah. See how much damage we're doing.
It's like I know I have to have a lot of supporters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus it does 10 damage by default, or 30?
It's 30 plus.
30 plus?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So still.
So 120. That puts that knocks out the Lugia.
It does. Yeah, it'll put him in a good spot.
And he can trade and then Acerola and then re-evolve the Zorua.
Yeah, unfortunately he does only play the. Oh no, he actually does play 2 Acerola.
Yeah,
Never
he plays
mind.
2 Acerolas.
So finding an Acerola here would be huge for him.
Oh, double tails on the timer ball.
That is a big whiff for Xander Perot, unfortunately.
Live by the timer ball, die by the timer ball.
He can still use Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag, and it looks like that Acerola is right there in the bottom of the deck. Gonna go ahead and grab it. And yeah, this is actually, from a bad situation, Xander has fought his way back these last few prizes. Jesper came out to a really fast lead in this game, but we've seen Xander, play to his outs, using Judge a couple turns ago, ended up leaving Jesper with not a very good hand. And Xander is now in a winning position in this game, it seems.
Yeah.
He's also got the weakness policy, so he can even put weakness policy on the clean Zoroark GX so that it cannot be knocked out by Marshadow with a Rescue Stretcher.
Did he not trade first?
I think he did trade already.
He did trade, okay.
I believe so, and he'll Be able to evolve the Zorua again if he wants to trade once again.
Not going to attack with Banette.
Okay, interesting.
1, 2, 3, he's counting. He's got the Devoured Field in play to give him the last 10 damage.
So he will be able to still get the knockout.
So he's going to take the knockout with Zoroark.
And since he does have the weakness policy, this is a totally safe play.
Right.
And maybe just wanting to preserve the Banette, I guess, keep it around. It can do a little more damage than maybe than the Zoroark. But there's the weakness policy. We see him traded away the Lusamine. DCE plus the Zorua comes out, hitting 110, and because of that 2 turns of using Shady Move to put them on the Lugia, he's now able to take a knockout. So just really intelligent play to set this up by Xander Perel.
So why doesn't he evolve to Banette that turn? He's got the Banette in hand.
Yeah, I know. That's an interesting point. You know, maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he's scared of something in Jesper's deck that could knock it out. I'm not really sure what that would be, maybe, but he's just, you know, being mindful of it. He's probably assuming a lot of these Malamar decks don't really have space for things like Marshadow or things like Judge, so he's maybe assuming I'll just get to keep my hand anyway, and if I don't, hopefully I can find the Banette again.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, I guess the choice is, there's an option here, I guess, to try to KO the Shuppet instead of targeting the Zoroark.
Ooh, looks like we're going to see a Hypnosis here. This could be a big flip. It's heads. Oh, there we go. Xander Perot will ride his beating.
Jesper scoops it up.
Take his last prize and win the game. So, pretty well-played game by both of these players. Jesper got off to a fast lead, like I said, but Xander was able to fight back and come away with the victory in game number 1 of this set.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Did he leave the Shuppet without evolving to Banette to try to, like, be a target because he didn't want him to hit into the Zoroark and he would rather he KOs the Shuppet?
Yeah, maybe so. I'm not quite sure what his exact thought process was. I mean, he's probably assuming it's pretty safe to just keep it. I don't think, like, if Jesper was to Guzma KO the Shuppet, you don't really care about that because,
right.
I mean, he's at 2 prizes, so it's not a winning play for Jesper.
Right.
He may have been afraid of something that could have knocked out the Banette. I don't know what that could have been. Yeah. He maybe didn't want to just give him... I bet he didn't want to give him the option to get more damage in play with something like a Shrine of Punishments, maybe. I don't know. There's something like that could be the
Let's
case.
remember in the post-game commentary to ask him about that. Because, I mean, I recognize as the father of young players, I mean, they'd be re-evolving everything on the board,
sure.
right?
Playing every card that's able to be played. Right?
Yeah, they're like that. And you know,
Jeez.
my kids are slightly past the point where they're like, I have this Ultra Ball in my hand. I must play this Ultra Ball in my hand. And yet, I wonder, as you said, Xander, I think everyone thinks of him as a very precise player who says, I do things when I have a reason to do things. And maybe his answer would be, I didn't have a reason to evolve the Shuppet to Banette.
Maybe so, yeah.
But I would argue that the reason would be, well, the Banette can take a hit and the Shuppet can't.
Sure.
Is not taking a hit, like, irrelevant? Seem like maybe it's relevant.
Moving on to this game, though, Jesper is going to get to go first. Acrobyte discards a Psychic right away. Looking over at Xander's hand, it is not very good. He's got a Judge, a Zoroark, and 4 energy cards. Not what you want to see as a Zoroark deck in your opening hand.
Well, he's gonna judge.
Yeah, most
judge
likely.
for 4 and hope for the best.
Yeah, and Jesper gets the Sudowoodo in play right away. Maybe it didn't end up having that much of an effect in the last game, but definitely a card we've seen be really good against Zoroark decks throughout the day. So Jesper's going to go ahead and get that Oranguru in play, really valuing that. And something I don't like about Jesper's board already is that he doesn't have a ton of room for things like Malamar and Shining Lugias and Marshadows. Like, he doesn't... It's already clogged up because he started that Tapu Lele, because he had to Nest Ball down that Oranguru. So we'll see what these 3 cards yield him. And look at him rubbing his hands. He's ready for it. Hopefully a good card.
So does he get an Inkay here or Coco? I assume he's going to get one or the other.
Probably just an Inkay at this point. Want to get your Malamar
Yeah, I feel
set
like
up.
you don't have one Inkay on the board because you risk having that Inkay get KO'd and then you're nowhere getting Malamars out.
So his bench is totally full. He's going to have to work with these bench spots for the rest of the game. He'll get one anytime something gets knocked out, but other than that, his field is set for the game. No space for a Shining Lugia, no space for a Tapu Koko. So we'll see off these 6 cards. Jesper's gotten everything he wants this turn. Yeah, Cynthia was just able to refresh his hand. He's got a full bench of 5 Pokemon. With an energy attachment.
The fact that he was able to instruct into a Cynthia and a Nest Ball for an Inkay is pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty nice. That was a quality instruct, people. That's how professional players do it.
There you go.
Drawing awesome cards off the top.
We'll see the top deck from Xander. It is a Garbodor. So
he's like, let's judge.
Not what you want to see. Yeah, showing his hand, making sure we're all well aware of what his hand is. And yeah, Jesper on his next turn can knock out the Zorua if he's able to discard a Lugia and get a Psychic Energy. He'll be able to take that knockout. So Xander here is just praying off of these 4 cards. Please let me find a basic Pokemon. Please let me find an S-Ball.
So true story of junior life. I know that when this card, so there was that brief like 3-month period where In was out of format like a year ago-ish.
Sure.
And Judge caused innumerable problems in juniors because all the juniors would be like, Judge! And then all the judges of the tournament would be like, what? True story of junior life there.
It can happen for sure.
Yeah.
So we do see off this Judge, thankfully for Xander, he was able to find a Nest Ball so he can get 1 basic Pokemon out. We'll see what he goes for. I would bet probably a Zorua. He wants the option to try to draw cards.
You got to get more Zorua set up.
He could, depending on the rest of his hands, go for a Shuppet, which is what he's bringing to the front here. Banette can knock out the Marshadow, as we saw in the last game, and it's a little more difficult for Jesper to deal with the Banette. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and opt for the Shuppet, maybe saying, hey, I am going to have a harder go of this game anyway because my setup isn't good. I went second. Jesper's start was really good. So I need to maybe just get a little lucky with my draws anyway.
Even after starting the Tapu Lele, you cannot deny.
And we see Zorua's Ram come out, does 20 damage. So that Marshadow is up to 40 damage here, seemingly out of nowhere. Because of that Shrine of Punishment Jesper put in play.
So it looks like Xander's hand is Ultra Ball, Garbodor, Trash. So he's gearing up to Ultra Ball Tapu Lele, I assume.
I would assume so, yeah. And we'll see Jesper using that Tate and Liza here. Shuffle in, draw 5 cards. Off these 5, if he's able to find an energy card plus a Mysterious Treasure and a Lugia to discard it, he can knock out Xander's only Zorua. But that's a pretty specific set of cards.
That Tate and Liza is pretty blingy.
Oh yeah, full art Tate and Liza.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
So what are his options here? There's Mysterious Treasure. Is there a Lugia? Oh, I don't see it. I don't think he drew the Lugia. Just going to go ahead and discard a Psychic Energy, and he can use Psychic Recharge here to start powering something else up. Yeah, Xander's going to look through the discard pile. No basic Pokemon for Marshadow to copy. And Xander's going to go ahead and attach to a Rangaroo, so we see him maybe utilizing a Rangaroo here. Oh, he's actually Psychic Recharging to a Rangaroo, attaching DCE, and Psychic will be able to knock out Zorua here. So he found a way to make it happen.
We told you Psychic was the best attacking Pokemon. There you go, people.
Yeah. There should be 10 more damage on that Marshadow because of the Shrine of Punishments, so we'll see if we can get that fixed at some point. But not a big deal. Easy enough fix. There should just be 10 more damage on the Shrine of on the Marshadow because of Shrine of Punishment. So we see Xander using Tapu Lele, grabbing a Lily from the deck, and we'll see what he draws here off of the Lily.
Chip is, they've gotten the 5th damage counter on.
Perfect.
Guys, Chip is on the job. This kind of commentary leadership is what we like.
We just got to make sure we have everything correct on the board.
Now this is, so we talked about this a couple of rounds ago where they went for the Cynthia despite the fact they had an empty hand. Here he had 1 card in hand and went for the Lily, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like that better, I feel like saving my Cynthias for later in the game.
Yeah, utilizing his oh yeah, Xander's just going to go ahead and concede this
Xander was like, I did not like what I got off that Lily, so never mind.
Yeah, Xander's definitely a player who's always mindful of the clock. Jesper as well, and I think Xander recognized, hey, I'm not going to win this game. I think we've only got 20 minutes remaining, and I want to make sure I've got time to play out a full 3rd game and do my best to get a win.
So Xander's sleeves are fire. There's no question.
Gotta love the Espeon EV sleeves for sure.
How do you feel about like blank sleeves versus decorated sleeves?
So I really like the Japanese sleeves. I think the design of them is really cool. And a lot of the U.S. Pokemon Center sleeves have similar designs. I just prefer the way that I personally use Dragon Shields. They're the sleeves that shuffle the best for me. It's just personal preference, honestly. But I do really like the design the Japanese sleeves. Xander always is a player who always has some really, really cool sleeves.
Right. It's. I think one of the great treats that my kids experience early in their time at Worlds is the opportunity to trade sleeves with Japanese kids. Because the Japanese kids are willing to trade for our sleeves that we used to get at stuff like City Championships, and because they don't get access to that kind of product.
Right.
And yet, certainly every American sees Japanese sleeves and says, "Oh my God, look at those sleeves."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Japanese sleeves are very cool, and there's a lot of exclusive ones that they get over there that we never get.
Yeah.
Looks like both players
everybody
have a mulligan
mulligans.
here.
Good times. I've always tried to dissuade my kids from actually using the sleeves because I don't have faith in them to not get a card accidentally flipped over.
Sure.
And then have a judge just completely wig out on them when some kid's like, "You got a card flipped over in your deck, stacker."
Yeah. I prefer to use the solid back sleeves myself, but like I said, I enjoy the
So having said that, my kids were so impossibly obstinate, and if you're a parent, I'm sure you can hardly imagine stubborn children. That this tournament is the second tournament that I can remember where I've let them play with Japanese sleeves because they were just so gung ho for it.
Xander, actually on his turn, has a pretty solid start. He starts a Shuppet, he's got a Nest Ball as well, he has a Tapu Lele in his hand, so he's got lots of options to play this turn out. Looking through his deck, he's going to check his prize cards.
Yeah, he's checking his prizes.
He's going to make his decision the way he plays out the rest of this tournament and the rest of this game based off of what's in his prize cards. He does have that
the Baby Buzz.
Yeah, he does have Baby Buzz, something he could utilize in this matchup potentially. Does have the Unit Energy as well, which he could, his Rainbow Energies, not Unit Energy, where he can utilize the Sledgehammer attack. Maybe not going to be as relevant in a non-Zoroark matchup though. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Tapu Lele promo. Looks like he's going to get rid of the Trashalanche Garb as well. And he could definitely set up a Lele for a Lily, and then Ultra Ball for the Zorua here, and just draw a ton of cards this turn. This is a really good setup for Xander.
I don't know what. So in the first game that we streamed today, did it go 3 games? I think they've all been 2-0s.
The first game was.
With
they
3?
ended in a tie.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Man.
So off of this Lily up to 8, I don't see any energy cards, so he doesn't have an attachment next turn. Does have the Banette, so if he can find a way to discard a few supporters, could maybe take a knockout on Coco. But Jesper's going to get his turn going, and we've seen basically all 3 of his board setups, each of these 3 games, be pretty different, honestly. We see two Cocos this time, and I don't think we've seen more than 1 Coco in play at a time before from Jesper.
Yeah, it was not obvious that this is actually a 4 Tapu Koko deck.
He's actually only playing 2 copies of the card. Oh no, he's playing 4, man. They're just different artworks. That's why they're listed separately on the list.
I mean, this is theoretically, and this is interesting. I think my oldest wanted to play a deck like this, and he could not refine the list enough, I think, to get it ready for this tournament. And he's proceeded to have a terrible day, so maybe he should have worked harder. But I think the strategy of this deck is if he was playing a Shrine deck, he'd be playing a spread attack. Sure. And it would just be waves of Cocos, and then Magical Swap and kill all the other guys' attackers.
So we see a Escape Rope come out, just thinning a card out of his hand before he plays a Cynthia here. And Xander sends up the Zorua. And Jesper here, if he can find a double colorless energy, he can get a lot of value out of a flying flip on this turn.
Yeah. And the idea, I think, is it is super hard for Baby Buzzwoles to one-shot a Tapu Koko without strong energies, right? I mean, they basically only hit for 100. Yeah,
they need their 1 copy of Beast Energy, or they need multiple hits. Yeah, right? Or a Kukui as well. Kukui plus DNC would get there.
But the result is the spread attack is actually pretty effective against this.
So we'll see what he wants to get with the Nest Ball here. Maybe eyeing up a Shining Lugia.
Yeah, he's got his 2 Inkays, so he's feeling pretty good about his Inkays.
I don't know that he drew a double colorless energy, so since he didn't draw it, I think he may just attach like a Psychic Energy to a Lugia this turn.
Yeah.
Second Nest Ball. Gonna get the Mimikyu as well, so he's gonna leave himself with that Copycat option.
It's interesting. I feel like the last time a deck of this style was popular was Bronzong 2 years ago, and there you played this deck with Skyfield, managing your bench space with these psychic recharge attackers, I think it's a real challenge.
It can be for sure. We actually see Jesper utilizing Mimikyu's first attack. Filch drawing himself 2 cards. And over back to Xander's 2 Zoroark GX in play already. This is looking much better this game for Xander than that first game did.
Yeah.
Or the second game, excuse me. Nest ball here. Maybe get another Shup It Down. Could even find the Trubbish. Looks like he's going to opt to fail it. I think he has a few basic Pokemon in his hand, so he does have more options for benching more Pokemon this turn. One thing that's different from Jesper's board this game than his other 2 is no Sudowoodo. He was sure to get the Sudowoodo out in those first 2 games. Did not get it out this game, though. Looks like we'll see Xander shuffle 3 Pokemon back with Rescue Stretcher.
But it's interesting. I think part of that challenge there is you have this bench space struggle where, because he had the 2 Coco start, all of a sudden there's not really a spot for him to get a Sudowoodo down.
Sure. Yeah,
I mean, maybe he could have deprioritized the Mimikyu, but he was like, I just want another attacker besides Shining Lugia that can hit the active.
Yeah, and I think Jesper fully expects this Mimikyu to get knocked out this turn, as Xander does draw the double colorless energy here. I believe he has 1 more trade. He may not, though. He may have used them both. I thought he had 1 more, though. Yeah, more than enough damage to knock out that Mimikyu. We'll see another card drawn.
Boy, whereas Xander did not get set up at all in Game 2, his board is ready to go this turn.
One thing about his board, though, lots of GX Pokemon in play, so Flying Flip plus Shrine of Punishments damage will start to build up, and Jesper, I'm sure he loves to see large bench sizes from Zoroark decks where he can utilize Magical Swap later on in the game.
Yeah.
Of course, Black Ray is still an option for him later on as well.
Yeah, if he gets off a couple of Flying Flips, Black Ray becomes a meaningful attack, right?
Absolutely. Cynthia here will draw 6. Off these 6, going to be looking for an energy card for sure. That weakness policy from Xander is actually really big.
Yeah, he has the Psychic in the discard off the Mimikyu, right?
Yeah, there is a Psychic in the discard. There's double colorless, so he can attack with Lugia this turn, or maybe Flying Flip. We'll see which one he wants to go for here. It's a tough call,
well,
I think.
Yeah, what would you do? I think, I mean, at some level, like collectively, it's 120 damage anyway you slice it.
Sure.
The question is, do you want to stack it on the Zoroark and put pressure? It's going to grab a Malamar.
Yeah, this will almost certainly go for a Malamar. I think at this point you want to spread some damage, maybe soften some things up, make them a little easier to get knocked out with the Tapu Koko, and then still Psychic Recharge and energy onto the Lugia. So you spread your energy out, you leave yourself with options for the next turn, but you're also, with the Shrine of Punishments in Jesper's hand, you're also weakening Xander's board. We'll see if that's the route he wants to go. I could definitely also still see a attack from Lugia.
Yeah, I just don't know how spread damage is super helpful in this game. If you know he's going to knock out this Koko next turn, he's going to knock out a Koko. Like, even if you got 40 damage on all these Pokemon, I don't know what numbers that sets up.
Well, it just makes it easier for the Lugia to take knockouts later on. But looks like he is going to go ahead and do 120 to the active, and then every GX in play takes 10 damage.
Like, I think the highlight of a spread attack would have been that you can, you don't have to worry about him Acerola-ing. You've already seen him aggressively Acerola to win game 1. So you're terrified at this point that he's going to pick up the Zoroark and then still take a knockout on the Shining Lugia because he found the Devoured Field.
Yeah, Xander is absolutely going to be looking for an Acerola here. If he could heal 130 damage off the board, and with that Devoured Field in place, still take a knockout on the Lugia, that would put him in a really good spot in this game.
Yeah.
Don't see it in his hand off of that trade. I'm not sure if he had it maybe hiding back there somewhere. Don't think so, though. He could still retreat, though, and if he has another DCE, he can still get a knockout on this Lugia with a clean Zoroark. So I think he would still do that. It looks like he's debating it right now. Could, if he has a Rainbow Energy, maybe use Banette's attack if there's enough supporters in the discard pile. Looks like he is retreating the Zoroark, and he's going to send up the Zoroark with only 10 damage on it.
Right.
One thing that is a little scary about this one, though, it does not have a weakness policy on it, so with this Lugia going down, Jesper could definitely pick up a KO pretty easily
with target for Marshadow.
With the Marshadow GX. DCE plus Marshadow, or even a Psychic plus Marshadow would be able to get there. Ooh, he has to just instruct for 1, though. I think Jesper does not have a very good hand based on his body language.
I was going to say, his And his board did not significantly evolve last turn, right? I mean, he didn't get another attacker down. He just put the Shining Lugia up and evolved the Incated Malamar and kind of wailed away with it. He doesn't have a lot of energy in his discard. Like, the deck is not doing what he wants it to do right now. So even though his board looks kind of set up, he's not advancing the game and like, progressing each turn how he wants to.
He played a Lily here. He has 6 cards in his hand. I don't know that anything is very helpful to him right now, though. He's got a DCE, so he could flying flip this game. But, I mean, just based on the way he's been playing, I don't think he's going to be going for that flying flip strategy.
Yeah. Rescue Stretchers, the Lugia.
So he can use Argent Wing.
Yeah.
Still hits for a decent amount of damage, and he's set up 2 Zolwarks. And one thing that's good about Xander's deck is that he can't heal 2 Pokemon in one turn. The most he can do is to heal 1 with an Ace of
Right, right. I think the problem is he knows he's used his Rescue Stretcher now, and he knows that this Lugia is going to get one shot this turn.
See a trade away of an Apricorn Maker. There's a weakness policy. I think Xander would have liked to have seen that last turn. It didn't end up mattering, though. Still no Acerola. That is real unfortunate.
Yeah, he is definitely digging for the Acerolas. And he's got plenty of cards in hand. He has no interest in playing a draw supporter.
Oh, there is one.
Oh, he got it.
He was able to get there, so that's good. I didn't find maybe the rainbow he was looking for, though. But with that other Zorua on the bench, he will still be able to trade one more time and still attack with a clean Zoroark GX.
Like, is there any reason I would ever want to shuffle and draw 6? It's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
I haven't been judged yet.
Yeah, at this point, he's definitely assuming, I think, that Jesper doesn't play any...
Jesper says that's horrible.
Geez, so it looks like things just didn't go Jesper's way that game. He didn't really draw very well in the mid-game, and Xander's able to come out on top here, going 5-0 here in the Oaks, Pennsylvania.
This Zoroark Bennett deck is definitely a thing that people are talking about. I think there's several players at the top tables that are playing this.
Yeah, I believe Rahul Reddy was also 3-0-1
I think he's playing
or
same
4-0.
60 as Xander here.
I